Ever sat down on a plane, buckled up, and then realized too late that your seat is basically in the bathroom, you're getting knocked by the beverage cart every 5 minutes, and your neighbor just opened a tuna sandwich? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the thing. Where you sit on a plane isn't just about legroom or window views. Sometimes it's literally about survival. Like Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, the sole survivor of the Air India crash at Ahmedabad, June 2025. His secret? Seat 11A, right by the emergency exit, near the super strong wing box, in the middle of the plane where impact forces are weakest. Pretty much every major outlet, CNN, BBC, you name it, called 11A the miracle seat. Today, we're not just talking comfort, we're talking strategy. Whether you're dodging bathroom lines, surviving turbulence, or escaping disaster, we're about to break down the best and worst seats in economy class. Stick around, because your next flight could depend on it. Ready to fly smarter, safer, and more comfortably? Let's dive in. On June 12, 2025, Air India Flight 747 crashed tragically in Ahmedabad, and among all passengers on board, only one survived. His name is Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, and the reason he lived comes down to something surprisingly simple: his seat, 11A. See, seat 11A wasn't randomly safe. It had three very specific things working in its favor. First, seat 11A was directly next to an emergency exit, allowing Ramesh to quickly escape after the crash. When every second counted, being just inches from an exit door made all the difference. Second, 11A was right by the wing box, the strongest part of any airplane. This area near the wings is structurally reinforced, engineered specifically to handle intense forces. And during an accident, sitting here can be the safest choice possible. Lastly, seat 11A was located in the middle of the plane. According to extensive studies, including one from the New York Times, seats in the middle section typically experience the least direct impact in a crash. Front sections can crumple, tails can snap, but middle rows usually remain relatively intact. Have you ever sat near an exit row or over the wings? Did it feel different to you, or maybe even safer? Let me know in the comments, I'm genuinely curious. Major news outlets didn't just report on the crash, they spotlighted the seat itself. The global media turned 11A into a symbol of hope and survival. Now, of course, we can't guarantee seat 11A will always save your life. But if you're looking to improve your odds, even slightly, it might be worth aiming for seats near exits, wings, and middle rows. Because sometimes the best travel tip isn't about upgrades, free drinks, or legroom. Sometimes it's about making it home safely. Let's talk seats: window, aisle, or the dreaded middle. Most travelers have a favorite, but each choice has trade-offs. Window seats? Great views, a place to lean, but try getting out mid-flight without waking the whole row. I used to be all about window seats, until I spent one red eye trapped and thirsty with no way out. Aisle seats are freedom, easy bathroom access, more leg stretching, but you're also prime target for carts, elbows, and every aisle wanderer using your seat back as a handle. Middle seats? No one wants them. But if you're flying with kids under 13, new DOT rules say airlines have to seat families together. So sometimes, that middle seat is the smartest move you can make. Which one do you always go for, and why? Let me know below. Here's where it gets interesting. Seat preference is just the surface. What really shapes your flight? It's your zone on the plane. So let's zoom out, front, middle, or back. Where's the real sweet spot? Now that you've picked your side, window, aisle, or middle, let's zoom out and look at where exactly on the plane you should sit. Front, middle, or back. First up, seats at the front. Prime real estate for quick boarding and exiting, especially crucial if you're catching a tight connecting flight. Plus, you'll have first dibs on overhead bins. But before you get too excited, here's the catch. These seats are colder, thanks to being right next to the main air conditioning units. Also, everyone else had the same idea, meaning the front cabin gets crowded first, and you'll have less chance of scoring an empty seat next to you. Next, there's the middle of the plane. Seats here, especially those near the wings, offer the smoothest ride. Turbulence is minimized because this area is closest to the aircraft's center of gravity. If you struggle with air sickness or hate the roller coaster feeling mid-flight, this is your safe haven. Bonus, middle seats near exit rows can get you quick emergency exits. Remember our Miracle Seat 11A? Yeah, it's right here. Then, there's the back of the plane. It often gets a bad rap, noisier, near the restrooms, and definitely bumpier when turbulence hits. But here's something most travelers overlook. Statistically, the back rows offer slightly better survival odds during accidents, according to studies by Popular Mechanics. And here's a tip. Flights that aren't fully booked usually leave the rear section emptier. So you could potentially snag an entire row to yourself. Stretch out, take a nap, and enjoy that private jet feeling without the price tag. One critical note: avoid the very last row. Those seats often don't recline. They're right next to restrooms, and spending hours upright amid bathroom traffic and galley clatter is something most travelers regret. Up next, exit rows and bulkhead seats. Airlines sell them as premium options, but do they really offer better comfort? Or are you spending extra money on hidden inconveniences? Stay tuned, because what we're about to share could save you a lot of regret on your next flight. All right, let's talk exit row seats. Airlines love promoting these seats as premium economy's hidden gem. Extra legroom, stretching space, and comfort. It all sounds amazing, especially if you're taller or just want more personal space. But before you pay that extra fee, there are some critical things you need to know. Yes, you'll get more legroom. After the Air India crash, it's no surprise that Seat 11A, an exit row seat, got so much attention. But are all exit row seats actually worth it? Let's break it down. No doubt about it. It feels fantastic to finally stretch your legs without kicking the seat in front of you. But here's the catch. Because exit row seats are right by the plane doors, they often get noticeably colder, especially at cruising altitude. If you're sensitive to cold, you'll be reaching for your jacket pretty quickly. Also, many exit row seats surprisingly come without windows. That's right. Imagine expecting breathtaking sky views and instead staring at a blank wall for hours. Another often overlooked inconvenience. Armrests in exit rows usually don't move. They're fixed in place, meaning you can't lift them to stretch out or create extra space. Plus, you won't be allowed to store any personal items under your seat. Everything has to go in the overhead bin, so that book you were planning to read or the snack you packed? Not within reach anymore. Bottom line, exit row seats are great if you want space to extend your legs, but be ready to sacrifice warmth, windows, access to your stuff, and seat flexibility. If that doesn't sound like your version of comfort, skip the fee and pick a smarter spot. Next up, the exact seats you should avoid at all costs. These might look perfectly fine on the airline seat map, but trust us, sit here, and your flight could become a total nightmare. Keep watching, because we're about to save you from hours of regret at 35,000 feet. Not all airplane seats are created equal, and a few of them might as well come with flashing neon warning signs. Here are the seats you need to dodge at all costs if you want to have any shot at a comfortable flight. First up, bulkhead seats. Those tempting first-row seats directly behind cabin dividers. They promise extra legroom, which seems great at first glance. But here's what the airlines don't tell you. No seat in front means no underseat storage. Everything you bring on board, laptop, books, snacks, has to go overhead. Need something mid-flight? Good luck standing up and rummaging through the overhead bin every single time. Plus, those tray tables and screens are often built into your armrests, reducing seat width and making your seat feel tighter. And don't forget, bulkhead rows are prime spots for families with babies because bassinets attach right to the bulkhead. Translation? You might be sitting next to a crying infant the entire flight. Next, seats near the bathrooms. Don't underestimate how disruptive these can be. Within a few rows, you'll be dealing with foot traffic, constant movement, and yep, less than pleasant smells. On top of that, many of these seats are stuck in an upright position, so you'll have zero chance to lean back and relax. Another red flag area: seats close to the galley, the airplane's kitchen. Flight attendants are working here throughout the flight, loading carts, preparing meals, and chatting. Expect noise, bright lights, even on overnight flights, and a constant flow of people moving past your seat. If you're planning to sleep, these seats are a recipe for frustration and insomnia. Lastly, avoid the road directly in front of the exit. These seats tend to stay rigid for safety reasons, so while the exit row behind you is enjoying extra room, you'll be locked in a stiff position the entire flight with no chance to recline. Ever been stuck near the galley or lavatory? What drove you the most crazy? Noise, smell, or the constant traffic? Now that we've covered the worst seats, stay tuned, because next up, we're revealing a little-known trick. Should you pick the left side or right side of the plane? Believe it or not, this tiny decision can dramatically impact your flying experience. Stick around, you don't want to miss this. Okay, you've picked your seat type, you've nailed down the section of the plane. But what about choosing between the left or right side of the plane? You might think it's random, but actually, this small decision could make a noticeable difference to your flight experience. Here's something interesting. When you book tickets online, seat maps typically display from left to right, the same way we read text. This subtle design choice means passengers tend to click on the seats displayed first, usually on the left side. As a result, the left side fills up faster. What does this mean for you? Simple. By picking a seat on the right side, especially in economy, you're more likely to find emptier rows or seats with fewer neighbors. Less crowding, more room, and potentially even an entire row to yourself. It might not sound like a big deal until you're stretching out comfortably while everyone on the left is packed like sardines. Now, here's another pro tip. If you plan to sleep and typically lean to one side, always choose a window seat matching your usual sleeping position. For instance, if you naturally lean your head to the right, grab a right side window seat. This tiny detail can dramatically boost your chances of getting some decent shut-eye at cruising altitude. Also, if you're someone who loves working or taking notes mid-flight, do yourself a favor. Choose the seat opposite your dominant hand. Are you right-handed? Grab a left side aisle seat. Why? Because your dominant arm can freely stretch into the aisle without knocking into your seatmate every 2 minutes. And if you're ambidextrous or just flexible about these things, pick the right side. Again, it's likely less crowded and gives you more elbow room to stretch out and enjoy your flight in peace. Up next, I'll share my own personal sweet spot seat strategy that I've perfected over hundreds of flights. Once you hear this combo, you'll wonder why you ever sat anywhere else. Stick around, your next flight is about to get way better. After years of flying, after enduring every cramped middle seat, noisy galley, freezing bulkhead, and smelly lavatory line, I've finally discovered my personal sweet spot seat. This combo consistently delivers maximum comfort, convenience, and minimal stress, especially on longer flights. Ready for it? Here goes. First, I always pick an aisle seat. Look, I value freedom and flexibility over anything else. I can stretch out my legs, easily get up for bathroom breaks without awkwardly climbing over strangers, and quickly access my bag whenever I need something mid-flight. Next, I aim specifically for seats in the center rows. On bigger planes, that's usually the middle section in a 3-4-3 layout. Here's why. If you're on an aisle seat in these middle sections, the passenger next to you in that middle seat often has 2 options for getting up. They can choose to exit from either side, meaning sometimes they'll choose the other side, giving you fewer interruptions and more uninterrupted relaxation. Third, I always choose seats toward the rear section of economy, usually between rows 46 and 54 on big international flights. Why the back? Simple. These rows often fill up last, increasing my odds of snagging an empty seat or even an entire row to myself. It's close enough to the bathrooms to easily slip in and out without hassle, but far enough away to avoid those nasty smells and constant noise from galley activities. And last but not least, I always book seats on the right-hand side of the aircraft, because as we've talked about earlier, most people subconsciously pick seats displayed first, which means the right side usually ends up a bit emptier, giving me more breathing room and less seatmate drama. One quirky little bonus. From my favorite seat position, I can see the entire cabin stretching out ahead of me. I don't know why, but there's something oddly reassuring about seeing what's going on up front. I feel more aware, in control, and relaxed throughout the flight. Weird, maybe? But it works for me every single time. Now, if you want to pinpoint your perfect seat too, I've got some amazing online tools to share with you. These tools help you avoid hidden seat traps before it's too late. No more getting stuck with surprise seats without windows or recline. Stay tuned, because knowing these secrets could completely upgrade your next flight. We've all been there. You pick what seems like a perfect seat, only to discover too late there's no window, your seat won't budge an inch, or you're parked right next to a noisy lavatory. Well, guess what? It doesn't have to be a guessing game anymore. Here are my absolute favorite tools to make sure you never end up stuck in a seat nightmare again. First up, aeroLOPA.com. Consider this your ultimate seating map. AeroLOPA provides incredibly detailed seat layouts specific to your exact flight and aircraft type. Wondering if seat 17A has a window? If seat 24C actually tilts back? If seat 34B is right next to a baby bassinet? AeroLOPA shows you all this clearly and accurately, taking out the guesswork before booking or checking in. A quick check here often makes the difference between a smooth ride and an uncomfortable one. Another gem I swear by is seatmaps.com. Why? It gives you actual photos and reviews from other passengers who've sat exactly where you're planning to sit. Want to know if the legroom on row 23 is cramped? Or if seat 27E has a faulty tray table? Seatmaps.com is like getting inside intel from friends who've flown before you. Real passenger reviews, real photos, zero surprises. And a quick bonus tip, before you lock in your seat, always double-check directly on the airline's own website or app. Many airlines nowadays include warnings about particular seats, like limited recline, tight spacing, or proximity to bathrooms, right on their seat selection page. Just 3 minutes using these free, simple tools can transform your flight experience from a gamble into a sure thing. No more guessing, no more stress, just pure comfort and smart planning. Up next, I'll share a quick wrap-up with key takeaways. Stick around, because summarizing these tips could help your next flight become your best flight ever. So here's the bottom line. Your seat on a plane is more than just a place to sit. It shapes your entire flying experience. From the moment you board to the moment your feet touch the ground again, the right seat can mean the difference between a smooth, comfortable journey and 4 hours of pure regret. If safety's on your mind, aim for the middle of the plane, near the wings and emergency exits, just like seat 11A, the spot that saved a man's life in 2025. If comfort matters more, aisle seats in the center section give you freedom to move without constant interruptions. And if you're looking to score a little extra space, head toward the back of the plane, especially on less crowded flights. Those quiet rows might just surprise you. Small details matter. Left or right side? Go right, it's often less packed. Window or aisle? Depends on your habits, your height, and your tolerance for being climbed over. Even which row you're in can affect how bumpy your flight feels, how soon you get your coffee, and whether you spend the flight next to a restroom or a row of empty seats. So next time you're booking a flight, don't just click the first open square on the seat map. Use the tools, read the reviews, know your aircraft. A few extra minutes of planning could turn your next economy flight into something that actually feels, dare I say it, enjoyable. And hey, if you've got a go-to seat, a personal system, or maybe even your own Miracle 11A story, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how you fly smarter. If this video helped you avoid a bad seat, helped you sleep better, or saved you from 4 hours next to a bathroom door, give it a like, share it with that one friend who always ends up in the worst spot. And don't forget to subscribe for more travel tips that actually make your trips better. See you at the gate.